The next mount we're going to examine is what in Japanese is called Kesa Gatame. That translates into English as scarf hold. Those of you that have a background in wrestling are going to know this primarily as a side headlock, but we want to de-emphasize the headlock part on this. There's a couple of reasons. One primary reason being if you've got the headlock, your opponent can bite you, and there are some people that we have to deal with that have some bugs in their bodies that we do not want in our bodies. So getting bit is not something we really want to encourage. So I'm going to show you a form of this hold down that will distance your opponent's teeth from your body and also allow you to maintain a considerable degree of control over the torso of your opponent. Remember our strategy: clinch, throw, mount, lock. We're examining the fundamentals of mounts, and always keep in mind, you don't have a mount until you have control of your opponent's torso. A mount has to do with controlling your opponent's torso. So I'm not thinking about the head. The arm is simply a handle. My main goal here is to control Ryan's upper body. Now the first basic step on this is you're going to have an arm. You get a takedown, or you have a guy you have to deal with who's already on the ground. You're going to pick this arm up. I'm distancing his arm from the ground. Now I'm going to shoot this leg, or do what in our foundation section is known as a leg under maneuver. I'll press down on his chest and sit out underneath his shoulder. I'm keeping my leg clear under his shoulder and bringing his shoulder up off the ground. This reduces his mobility because now he doesn't have that much contact with the ground and he's losing leverage to be able to get away from me. The next step, I'm going to bring this leg up so the knee is pointing up and the sole of my foot is entirely on the ground. I want this foot to have as much traction as possible because this foot's going to be my mobility. The next thing I'll do is I'm going to control his elbow knuckles, the epicondyles of his knuckle, of his elbow with this hand, and I'm going to squeeze his hand or forearm between my lats and my triceps. I'm going to squeeze his hand in here so that he will have a difficult time getting it out even from this. Then controlling the elbow knuckles. Instead of going to the headlock position, which in competition is encouraged because your opponent's ability to bridge is limited. But again, if Brian wants to bite me, I'm in trouble right now, and I don't want to get bit. I don't have body armor in my armpits. I don't know if your department has or not, but ours doesn't. So I don't want to get bit. I don't want to go to the headlock configuration unless I have to. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to push Ryan's head away with my elbow, stretching against his arm, which I've secured over here. Then I'm either going to grab onto his arm with the other hand, or what I like to do is grab my own pant leg. Because I'm drawing this arm in, pushing his head away, and he can't move his head close to my body because I'm very well braced. So he's distanced from me, and he's going to have to work really hard to find anything to bite from this position. Now I'm just going to tuck my head, and he can swing at me. Go ahead and take a couple of pops. But all he's going to hit is the occipital bones in my skull, and those are really hard bones. He's going to do more damage to the little bones in his hands than he is to me hitting me on those big bones in the back of my skull. And you can ask my boss how hard-headed I am. So I'm going to pull this arm, control his head, duck my head, and then as Brian moves, all I'm going to do is keep this foot maneuvering. I want to make sure that this hip stays in contact with Brian's body. Once I've secured his arm, pressed his head away, braced this arm, tucked my head, the only job I have in this hold down is to make sure that my hip stays in contact with his body. There are very few escapes from this position, and one of them is he gets a leg between our bodies. So all I have to do is keep maneuvering with this leg. So as Brian tries to maneuver away from me, all I do is follow him around keep my head tucked, and as he moves, I just stay with him. I'm exerting very, very little effort here. We'll show you some joint locks and some other attacks from this position later, but for right now, that's Kesa Gatame, or scarf hold, similar to a side headlock in wrestling.